Hey guys, welcome back to Dollar Menu Costumes. I'm Tanner, and today we're going to get working on Anakin Skywalker's makeup. Let's get started. So to start off, I'm not going to do it today because we're not going to get in full costume, and I have got other things to do. But for my hair, I like to start out with a couple of products. One is this Garnier Wonder Waves. You can get it at Walmart. It's like a couple bucks. It's amazing. I spray it all throughout my hair except for my bangs because you notice Anakin's hair, his front is not very wavy, but most of the sides and the back are very wavy. So get that going with this if your hair is not naturally wavy. Now, if your hair is naturally wavy, you got a leg up on everybody else. Also, I don't know how this would work on wigs, since I like to use my own hair. I think it looks more natural for me. If you found a good wig, or maybe you can use I know there's some wigs from Arda, I think is the name of the website. A lot of Anakin Skywalker cosplayers will use. So those are pretty good. Then once I've got all of the waviness in, I hit it with this Got to Be Glued freeze spray. This stuff is incredible. This is a 4, as you can see right there. Always use the heavier stuff when you're doing costume hair because you want it to last as long as possible. After I get my hair done, after I finish up the hair, I've done this a couple of different ways, getting started on the actual makeup process. The main thing for Anakin, it's very simple. You want to get the scar right here. It goes from the eyebrow up to about middle of your forehead. And there's another little bit to the scar that's below your eye, and that's about a 1/2 inch right about here. I like to do the scars last. Initially I did them first, but it kind of got in the way, especially as I wanted to get a little more fancy. I like to contour my cheeks a little bit. I like to do the cheek bones and a little bit of a chin cleft. I have a slight natural cleft in my chin. It's not very deep like Hayden's is, so I also like to add that in very lightly. You don't want to go too much. And I don't want it to be too prominent, but just enough to have some definition. See, that's about all you really need. You can make it a little sharper if you'd like. I don't really see it necessary for this. I think that's pretty decent. So for cheeks, make that little face, the little pucker fish face, and just follow from the height of your cheekbone down to right about here, and then come down. Follow. I don't know what this is called, but I like to think of it as the Heath Ledger cheeks. And then, because I'm a slob, I tend to blend it out into the cheek area with my finger. Also like to make the edges of it not as sharp, but it definitely adds a little extra depth. Now, I think it is best, especially when you're recreating a character that people already have a look for. In this case, Hayden Christensen iconically is Anakin Skywalker. So the best thing for you to do is not to try and make your face look exactly like Hayden's unless your face already looks like Hayden's. So the best thing is to make your face, take the defining characteristics of what Anakin looks like, and then shift that over to your face. So my face is kind of ovally. Can't really do anything about that. So we're just gonna work with that. And we'll make the cheeks a little sharper, do the cleft, and I'll work with the eyes. But other than that, I feel like that's all I really need to do to achieve the look I don't want to make my face look unnatural. And I just got cheap stuff from Walmart, like all of this. This is just like a Palladio matte shadow. Probably got it at Walmart. It's I'm just using the, I don't know if that helps you at all. I just use this dark brown shadow color. Works well for me. Maybe your skin is a different tone. Smile up, see where the corner of your cheek kind of ends. Wow, when I smile, my cheeks look a lot bigger than I think they are. You gotta make funny faces to do this stuff. That's all the time I'm gonna waste doing that. Again, very slight, but it adds a little extra depth to the character when you are dressing as them, acting as them, whatever you're doing. Moving on, scar time. This part is fun. So for the scars, you need two things. One is a lip liner is what I'm using. Some people use eyeliner stuff. I find lip liner works best because it's the most malleable. You can make it blend a little easier and not as harsh of a line, and it rubs in nice. So this is L'Oreal Color Richie Lasting Plum. Probably can't even read that, and that's fine. I just told you all the info you need. Again, Walmart, super cheap. So first thing for the scar, you want to draw it on. So hopefully you were really good at stick figures, because all you gotta do is draw lines. So we're gonna start kind of on the outer corner of the eye and just draw right down. That's all you need for that bottom part. And then, like I said, right here in the eyebrow and right up. It's okay if it's a little squiggly, because it is a scar. It's probably not the cleanest thing. So that's pretty dark, isn't it? We're gonna use our handy dandy finger again. Smudge it ever so slightly. This kind of gives the surrounded skin a more irritated look. Now, his scar in the movie, it has a couple of different looks. So I like the one that's kind of like it actually looks like a scar instead of just a line on his face. The nice thing about drawing it on too is that when we go and do the next step, it's going to be a lot easier to see where you need to follow along. And so this is something I see a lot of people skip out on. I find it like every little detail is very neat to me. So on his opposite cheek, this scar is on his right eye. The opposite cheek has two lines that are perpendicular, basically, about like that. So I really hope that's the right word. Perpendicular, right?
Yeah.
Yay! Just one right about there, middle of your left cheek, and then go about a 1/4 inch forward. And draw a little bit of a smaller line right there. And that is it for this guy. There you go. And ta-da! Super simple, super easy. Now the fun part that really makes it look like a good scar. The next part of the scars is this beautiful product called Rigid Collodion. This is by Mehron, Mehron, in case you can't tell how that's spelled. You can usually, sometimes, possibly find these at a Halloween store during Halloween time. I haven't been able to in recent years, so you can get it on Amazon super cheap. It's like a couple of, like, I want to say like $6, maybe $8. Just check Mayron Rigid Collodion. You can find other brands of Rigid Collodion. As far as I know, they all work the same. You could probably find stuff on forums that tells you which one is the best. I find this stuff works wonderfully. I've used it for Heath Ledger's Joker scars. I like it a lot. Looks great. Works great, and it's easy to take off because all you have to do is peel it. So for the Rigid Collodion, it is basically a paint the line. A little trickier than using a pencil because the brush is not as predictable on how it's going to move. But all you do you're going to do that a couple of times. Just follow the scar lines that you drew on with the lip liner, eyeliner, whatever you use. So what Rigid Collodion does is it tightens up the skin, it shrinks it, and I don't really know exactly the science behind it, but it makes it like a divot, almost like a valley in your skin. It looks very cool. It gives a very scar-like quality to whatever you paint over it. I've seen some very talented people do some very cool stuff with this. If you want to have a consistent scar effect for something that's a little more intricate than these lines, I would not use it. But since we are just doing 4 little lines, it's perfect. Just do 2 or 3. If you really want some extra depth, I would go about 6 layers. Not going to do that because I am running low on this stuff right now. So do a couple of passes, let it dry a little bit, use your hand, use a hair dryer on cold, whatever suits your fancy. You can just sit around and let it dry on its own if you'd like. But like I said, the lovely thing about the Rigid Collodion is that you can peel it off when you're done. Unfortunately, the other side of that means that it can come off if you put it on a part of your face that moves a lot. So when I did it with the Joker, the corners of my mouth would start to peel up. Not my mouth, but the scar on my mouth. The corners of the scars would start to peel up because you move your mouth so much when you talk. Luckily, I think the one that's at most risk right now is this one right here, because I like to be expressive with my eyes. But so far I haven't noticed any issues with it coming off on its own. I have worn this to a couple of troops with my local 501st Garrison, and have noticed no such issues. It has made it the entire time. I think I've been out in this for like 4 hours. So I wore this to a convention last August too, and it didn't have any problems there either. Let that dry for a second. Yeah, that looks pretty sick. See, you don't even really need the 5 or 6 layers because that's got a pretty good depth to it already. The last part of the makeup, if you have gotten this far and you're like, oh, I would love to do a little something extra, and you like the evil Anakin look.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
What I would suggest is A, get the Sith contacts. There are tons of websites that you can find Sith contacts on. Definitely check and make sure that you are able to put contacts, colored contacts, costume contacts in your eyes. You do not want to sacrifice your vision for a costume. I'm fine. I've got some contacts. They are expired right now, so I'm not going to do that. But I like to have like the darker circles under his eyes, the very Sith-looking dark eyes. I use a couple of things. First off, this Ben Nye cream contour palette. It's fair, lightest to light. It's got highlight, shadow, rouge, and lip color. Looks like that. It's kind of messy, as you've seen. I've had this for a while. I don't have a lot of uses for it actually, but this it's perfect for. Start off with a little bit of the rouge, this color right here. And I'm just gonna use my finger. Again, that's how I was shown to use it. So if I'm wrong, whoops. And you're just gonna basically create this bruised, swollen, I've been crying for hours because I'm an emo Jedi look. Which is true, I am an emo Jedi. But neither here nor there. It's gonna be a nice little base layer right there. So Anakin's got more color in the on the inside of his eyes, and coming kind of out, over, and down, at an angle almost with his nose. So we don't want to do too much over here on these sides. We mostly want to focus our color on the inner sides of the eyes. And again, in the movie, during the whole Mustafar fight sequence, all of that, when he first gets there, like his eyes go through like 4 or 5 different looks. So choose what you like best. Maybe you want to go a little extra and make them really dark. I saw an incredible costume on Instagram. I think Star Wars Theory reposted it. The dude looked incredible. Fantastic makeup and everything, and he had very dark circles on his eyes. So it looks really cool if you want to do that. It also looks great if you want to go subtle. There are just a bunch of different options you can do. So after I use the rouge, we're going to go in with the lip color, which is this one, I believe, as long as these are all coordinated to the color in front of them. But we're going to use this kind of like purplish one. And it's going to start to give us that like bruised, darker look. And you want to focus this mostly under the eye. Maybe a little up in the corner. I used this color palette on our director's stepdad when we did the Frightful Pursuit of the Blackwood Beast. It was a pretty gnarly little gash that I got to put on him, and it looked really good. And that had nothing to do with my ability. Just these makeups work really well together. As you can see, it's already starting to kind of look a little nasty under my eyes. You can also use some eyeliner if you'd like to make your eyes pop out a little bit more. I don't like to, just because I don't like to almost stab my eye. I'm just not very good at it, personally. So, if you're good at eyeliner, do it. Problem with putting me in front of a camera is that I feel like I can just talk and talk and talk, and I've got a captive audience.
You do.
Yeah, that's right, my director's here. I say director loosely, he doesn't really tell me what to do. He just gives me a camera and says go for it.
Sorry.
No, I like it.
Stop looking like an idiot. There's something
Not
to do.
complaining. All right, so that's looking pretty gnarly. I always wipe my finger off, by the way, because I don't like to get a bunch of gunk on my finger. So next, I'm gonna go in with the shadow, the brown color on the top. Don't really use the highlight on this one at all for anything. So this one is going to be more the accent. You don't want to cover everything up. You don't want to just layer it on. You want it to be layers, but you don't want to just be the whole thing just blobbed on there. All 3 colors mixed together. You want it to kind of have some texture and some depth. So this is going to be the closest to the eye. And skin doesn't really have a stark change in color, so just remember to blend out any edges that are a little too harsh. My hair's getting annoying because it didn't do it. It's fine. This is why you do your hair first. You don't want to blend it out because you don't want it to go outside of the margins you've created. So blend it in a little bit instead of just kind of being like, oh, I'm gonna rub it out. That's just gonna make it look terrible. And I found that out the hard way. I'd say that looks pretty good so far. I'm gonna drag it out just a little bit. Not too much. Again, you want texture and layers, not mud. I'm just kind of dragging it out from the corner of my eye, which is where everything is, and just creating a nice triangle look there. Now, if you would like, you can take some black eyeshadow and just softly hit under your eye with it. Just for a little extra evilness. Because, you know, that's totally weird. You don't want the black to be too prominent. It's definitely, the idea is hopefully it'll blend in, just kind of look more of a darker purple than a black. I think that looks pretty solid. What do y'all think? Sam?
You look sexy.
Feel free to drop a comment, give us a like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are going to continue to put out more videos. This will probably be the last Anakin Skywalker video for a little bit. We will do some more costumes. Feel free to check out the rest of the channel. Check out our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Thanks for coming by Dollar Menu Costumes. We'll see you next time.